What's up, you guys? Happy Wednesday. It is dreary in Colorado. It's 3 o'clock and it feels like it's like 7. I want to talk about something today that I think is very interesting and something that I feel like still comes across my own brain sometimes. And that I see happening a little bit with our 10-day that we're doing. We have those people in our life that you look at them and you're like, it's just easy for them, right? Like life is easy. They're not struggling. They're not worried about money. They're not worried about what their body looks like. They're not worried. They're just like, life is just easy, right? And we tend to kind of put them on this pedestal like, well, they wouldn't understand, right? And my life will never feel that way. And then what we start to realize is that when we dive deeper into that person, like it probably isn't just easy, but they're probably taking the steps to make it so that their life is a little bit easier, but they've probably been through a really big struggle, right? And so there's this thing about struggle, and it's the whole idea of like we turn our pain into our passion and our mess into our message. And we were talking about that yesterday. Is, I'm just sort of looking at my own journey of how sort of in here, like how just dysfunction I was for a really long time. And on the outside, if we're talking about body image and health and like looking happy and healthy and all those things, I had that going, right? Like I looked like I was fine, right? But on the inside, I was a disaster. I was unhappy with who I was. I was overstressed. I was overwhelmed. I was all of those things, right? And so for me, I had to step into owning that and accepting that, like, wow, I actually need some help and I'm going to ask for help, which is also hard for a lot of people. So, I asked for help. I started my program, and then I got to say out loud, hey guys, I actually have been kind of a hot mess forever. And the thing about that is when you do that, it takes so much pressure off of yourself, and it gives all the people around you that little break to be like, oh my gosh, they don't have it all figured out. Because I guarantee you guys, none of us have everything figured out. None of us, it's easy, right? It's just like we're all putting in work on the back end and we're all doing the things. So I just want you guys to understand that when you see those people, it's probably not real, right? Like I have mentors and I'm like, they're probably just got it all figured out. And then you get to know them a little bit deeper and you're like, oh no, they still have the same thoughts. They still have the same fears. They still have the same worries. They still have all of the same things, right? They have just learned tools to mitigate those thoughts and to have them last less long, right? And to understand that like their thoughts and their feelings are not them, right? And so we were talking about this, Brandon and I were talking about this with shift, right? Of like, it's understanding that when we want to go from point A to point B, we have to have some tools and we have to have some strategies and we have to have support, because it takes coaching, right? It takes help, and it takes somebody shining light in places that you didn't even know to look, so that you can be like, oh, wow, why am I thinking that, right? So it's really understanding like that you need tools and you need processes and you need habits that you can shine light on what's going on in your life. Because if you're not, you're just reacting to life. And so for so many of us, we're living in a state of reaction instead of action. Okay. But when you start to be able to say, I'm going to bring presence, we just talked about this in our group, but like I'm going to bring presence and I'm going to bring awareness to my life, then I can shine the light on things that are going on that I probably didn't even know were happening. And then I can understand, like, why is that showing up for me? Why do I keep thinking that thing? Why am I doing that? And now what ways can I systematically, slowly shift that so that's no longer my story, right? So that the things that really used to be hard now are kind of easy, And so Brandon and I were talking about today, and that's kind of what I wanted to share, was that my entire life, I felt trapped by food and trapped by my body image and just completely trapped by that. And looking back, you guys, the amount of hours I was spending worrying about my food, counting my food, contemplating, like, it's insane that I actually ever got anything done, right? And so now I can look at where I am now, where that's not really a thing, right? Like I don't obsess over what my body looks like. I don't obsess over my food. Like, yes, I pay attention because I know nourishing my body is really important to me, but I'm not obsessing over it, right? But then I think back to where I was and I'm like, wow, that was I felt like I was in a hole that I was never going to get out of, and I was there for 25 years, right? But it took some deeper methodical work, which is what we want to teach you guys with Shift, is that you get to do this deeper layer of work, and then all of a sudden the thing that felt like it was going to like never let its like reins off of you, never let the clutches go, it all of a sudden does. And you're like, wow, this does get to be easy, right? Does that not mean that I'm still paying attention and working on myself? Absolutely not. But can I tell you that life has gotten easier once I made the choice to really say, one of our clients today, and she was saying the same thing. She's like, she started with my very first flow Flow group, which is what Shift kind of started from, last January. And she's like, so much has happened in this year of just my happiness and my health, and like that I'm not beating myself, and that I'm not stressing about this, and I have this different relationship with myself and with my body and with my friends and with everyone. And she's like, I can't believe how much this has changed. And guys, we've worked with her for 10 years. We're going to actually interview her for you guys. We'd worked with her for 10 years prior to this. But it was when she took the time to go deeper, to really see, where is that pain coming from? What is this relationship? Why do I have these stories? Everything started to change. Okay. So I want you guys just to know that you feel like if that person always has it easy, they don't. And that you can have those shifts too, and that you can have those transformations, and you can get to the point where it really does feel easy, even though right now it feels like there's no way that that's ever possible. Okay, so I just want you guys to understand there is light at the end of the tunnel, right? It might get darker before it gets lighter, but there is a way to get to a different place in life. But it just takes you stepping up and saying, hey, I'm worth this, and hey, I know I can do this, and hey, I want to know from a place of love why I do what I do and how I get to shift those behaviors. So I just want to leave you guys with that, because I feel like I've heard it a lot lately. And like, just know that everybody has some sort of thing that they're working through, or they've done a whole lot of work in the past. So you guys are rocking it. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.